Are you not saddened now? Chisora's not in the building yet, so we can talk about him. Are you not saddened, disappointed to some degree that it's not AJ you're stepping into the ring to?
Yeah.
Chisora will bring a threat, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But you would have loved to have fought Joshua right here in the Tottenham Stadium.
Listen, it would have been fantastic. We offered the fight, they had the contract, all this sort of stuff. I'm not going to bore everyone with all the rubbish that goes with boxing.
No.
Boxing, it seems to be a very political place. It's not about if two fighters want to fight each other, it's happening. Let's face facts here. I was that confident, I put 10 grand on it, that he wouldn't sign the contract, and he didn't. So I'm not going to wait around for somebody who I'm chucking a bone to. It's not like he's a champion and he's chucking me a bone.
Why didn't he, Tyson? Is he ducking you? Does he never want to fight you?
I just think it's a lack of one thing, and I don't like to say it on the radio, but it's a lack of balls. If you're in charge and you're assertive and you're the man of your team, you tell the team to make the fight happen if you really want it. If you don't want it, you find a real million excuses why. And I can understand why, because to make this Chisora fight, this is me fighting Chisora in a trilogy, and 258 made this quite difficult. So I can only imagine how difficult they were being with the lawyers with the other fella, their golden child. However, it's very unimportant today because it's past history.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm fighting who? I'm fighting Derek.
But you're a fighting man. Do you think, the word that I get from their camp is unequivocally Anthony Joshua wanted to fight. There are other forces in the mix, whether that's people that look at the commercial reality of him going in and fight with you and losing for a third time and then having no commercial value to anybody. So do you believe what you just said, that Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight, or do you believe there's other people around him that think, hang on a second, if we goes in with this fella, he loses again, the cash cow's gone?
Yeah, well, there is a valid point by two of those things. So, however, I think that initially, when I made the video to Joshua, he was all up for it. It seemed like a great deal, and he was on board. But I do think somewhere along the line, within the next 7 days, he changed his mind, and his team didn't want it for the reasons you
So you
just
don't
said.
think he wanted the fight himself, wanted the fight?
No, because if he did want it, I'd be fighting him and not Chisora today.
But do you also think, Tyson, that you don't have a dog and bark, do you? So wouldn't you have just been better standing in the background and letting the promoters make this fight happen and not give people a potential excuse that you're setting ultimatums, you're setting deadlines, and all of a sudden it gives them a jail card that you're querying the pitch because you're going, I've got to have it done then?
No, because I'm the biggest promoter in sports.
Then why have a promoter?
Nobody.
Then why not?
Nobody can compete with me with promoting. I'm the biggest promoter out there.
No, you've got the most charisma,
sports.
but to do the deal, you're not doing the deals. You're not negotiating the contracts and putting all the commercial rights into play. You're not sitting there with the sponsors
all this
and the ticket sales.
Commercial rights stuff. Yeah, I'm in charge of everything because I'm the man of my team. Everybody works for me. Uneducated gypsy who left school.
No, I get that.
No, but Tyson, if you are the best promoter, you would have got the fight made
with the demands.
But you would have got it made.
I want. Yeah, but
you didn't get it made.
Yeah, but you can't make a fight that somebody else doesn't want. So no matter how much willing I am to make a fight, if the other participant isn't ready to do it or doesn't want to do it for whatever reason, they're not going to do it. I don't believe you could have dragged him now with the JCB, because the fact of the matter is, like you just said, they're trying to use these commercial rights, sponsors. What has a sponsor ever had to do with a world title fight? I've got sponsors. What, they're going to tell me I can't fight Chisora? I'd say, here, stick your sponsor where the sun don't shine. I'm fighting because I'm the man of my own ship. I'm in charge.
The thing is, on December the 3rd, right here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you go in with Chisora for a third time. Last time out in 2014, Chisora's corner forced the retirement in the 10th round, and you were asking the ref to stop the fight. So what's the point of this one?
Well, you could say that about the Wilder. I've had 3 fights with Wilder and beat him 3 times, but all 3 fights were great fights, wasn't they? So it I picked Chisora after all this rubbish. I tried to do with the USEC job. They didn't want no smoke until next year. I tried with the second best Joshua. He doesn't want no smoke in a million years. Wilder was fighting Linnaeus after his year off. I just destroyed him. So I'm thinking, who am I going to fight who people know, who we know is going to give a good fight and a good account of himself, and he does exactly what it says on the tin. So I can only think of, Derek Chisora. And the fact that he bet against me against all of his little pals in the boxing, and we have a history and we've already had a couple of good fights, and it was what it was. People
can he bring anything different this time?
Of course he can. It's heavyweight boxing. You only need one punch in the face, it's all over. I would never underestimate somebody like Derek Chisora. He has been in there with the best of this era, and the previous one. And he's come up short quite a few times. However, he has got some good wins on his record as well.
I mean, here's where I am, and I think you know that I think that you are generationally the best heavyweight around, and I think you beat everyone. But can you understand some of the resistance? Because really, this is a tune-up fight for you. This is you. This is not you. The Deontay Wilder fight was a destination, right? You went to fight arguably what was perceived to be, not arguably, factually, the hardest hitting heavyweight in the division that came with a big reputation. And in my view, you've done him 3 times, right? But this is a tune-up fight to fight Usyk. So people are going to look at it that way, whereas Joshua was not a tune-up fight. Now, you might think it's a tune-up fight because you can deal with Joshua, but for the public, they'll go, Joshua's the former heavyweight champion of the world. He's the McCoy in terms of the money in the fight as well, because he's an express change financially. Can you understand why there might be a little bit of, oh, this ain't so good, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if you saw the Chisora versus Usyk fight. Did you watch that one?
But you're bigger than Usyk, and it's a different fight, isn't it?
Usyk just beat Joshua, and Chisora did a much better
but he can't he leant all over him. He can't do that to you. You're 6'8" and far bigger.
I'm not so sure, you know. You can't underestimate any heavyweight.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just asking you.
No, I know it's just you're asking the question. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, I take who's available and who's the better choice at the time. People was wanting to see the Joshua fight, including myself, but, you know, he's the reason that this didn't happen, and we move on from that. I'm not going to be stuck in the past dreaming about a fight that doesn't happen.
Do you think... Because people, whether it's the media or whether it's people like me pushing you for questions and answers, do you think you ever fight Joshua? Do you think after?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
They're too hard to work with.
Even you're saying that now, Tyson.
Yeah,
Frank Warren said that to us this morning.
They're too difficult, and like I said, you can't make someone do something they don't want to do. When me and Wilder fought the first time, I said to me, send me the contract over. It was signed within 2 days. Bosh, bosh. See you in a bit. Right, went over there, done the fight, whatever. When you want to fight somebody, you make a fight happen.
I agree.
But when you don't, there's always a reason why.
Find a reason not to, yeah.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I'm not even going to just keep going on about fights that are not happening, because there's been a lot of fights in the past that didn't happen with various other fights and fighters, and we get over them. You know, Froch Calzaghe didn't happen, but who's talking about it today? Not very many people.
That's a good point. So let's say, as is expected, you beat Derek Chisora, and it happens out there. Is that the last time, Tyson, we'll see you fight on British soil? Because you have to think logically, next would be Usyk, and that could be Saudi.
Could be. But hell no, definitely not. I'm fighting here. I ain't going anywhere. I had retirement for 4 or 5 months, and I didn't like what I tasted. I am not going anywhere. I'm here until the cows come home.
How many fights do you think you'll have after this one?
I'm not sure. Maybe 10 or something. I don't know. Never put a number on it, because face facts here. This is factual coming from me, right? I have everything that the world has to offer, and that to me is not interesting. The only thing that really gets me going is boxing and fighting and training, and I don't believe I can be involved in an environment of training every single day like a lunatic and not have a goal at the end of it. I'm finding it very hard to let this thing go, and when I walked away in April, God knows I really, really meant what I was saying.
But we all knew it was a load of old tosh. We all knew you were coming back.
Well, maybe you knew it, but I didn't.
But here we are.
I could have put my hand on a Bible and meant what I said at that time. Like, there was no doubt in my mind I'd have passed any polygraph test in the world. But having 4 months of retirement, I know it's not for me. And you could ask me today, what goals you have in boxing? I don't have any goals. There's no goals for me in boxing anymore. I'm doing this because it's the only thing I know.
Yeah.
And it's what makes me tick. And I'm hoping that there's a doctor out there somewhere that can help me let go of this thing. Because at the minute, I've got this bull by the horns, and I'm taking the bull for a joyride.
But you'll know when it's time to let go.
I know it's time to let go 4 years ago.
No, but you'll know when it's time to let go when you can't do it anymore. You can still do it, and you know that you can still beat everyone out there. And when it comes a time when possibly you can't, when you've reached the end of the road like Pay Lennox did when he fought Vitaly Klitschko, and you go, hang on, this is too much like hard work, you'll know then, won't you?
I'll know, but the fact of the matter is I still won't be able to let it go, just like Roy Jones did and James Toney. All the great fighters from the past, they can never let it go.
Lights out Tony.
What we're going to see out there then, Tyson, on December the 3rd?
I'll tell you what,
it's live on talkSPORT.
This is, I think it holds about 70,000 people. Yep. We will sell this out in 1 day. For sure, guaranteed fact. And the British fight fans are in for a real treat, because you've got 2 top British heavyweights. He's in the top 10 in the world in the heavyweight, just beat Pulev. We're going to see an excellent fight. I'm anticipating a good Chisora. He's back with his original trainer, Don Charles, and he's away from all the MMA guys now. And I want to see some sweet science of boxing from him. He's a great boxer, very good boxer, Chisora. Underrated, very underrated jab. And not many people know that, but I firsthand know what it's like to be on the end of a Derek Chisora jab.
Do you think he's a bigger challenge than Dillian White was?
I think they're around about even.
Really? Well, you walked through Dillian White.
Well, I didn't walk through him. I actually calculated, knocked him out with a right uppercut, which I was planning for. However, if you look at those two guys, they were quite 50-50 evenly matched, even though Dillian White won the 2 fights.
You know,
they were pretty
Tyson,
close.
even after everything you've done, and you've done a lot, of course you have, are we still to see the best of Tyson Fury?
I believe that I'm only getting better with age, like a fine wine. And it sounds strange for me to say that because it was only when I was 27 and Klitschko was 38, which is only 4 years older than I am today, which I anticipate I will be boxing when I'm 38. Then I said that. He said, age is just a number. And I said to him, no. I said, the body is willing. The mind is willing, but the body won't follow. Remember that. This is a young man's game. And no matter how good you feel or how fit you feel or how fast you can run up a hill, this is a young man's game. And at 34, they said Eubank was old at 30. They said Ali was old at 32. So whatever am I, granddad or what?
So the press conference gets underway about 12:30. We're going to have some fun and games, do you think? I mean, Derek, we never know what he's going to bring.
We're here to inform the press and do some interviews and get it rocking and rolling, which we always do.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.